All right, folks, Cameron here, and let me tell you, I've seen some things in my 44 years. But nothing, absolutely nothing, quite prepared me for the bizarre, head-scratching encounter I had recently. It was one of those moments where you just stare, blink, and wonder if you've accidentally stumbled onto the set of a hidden camera show. Picture this. I'm a middle-class guy, usually pretty chill, and I love a good story, especially when I'm the one telling it. So, it was a perfectly lovely evening, celebrating our manager's retirement. We'd gathered at a decent restaurant near the office, good food, good company, plenty of reminiscing about the old days. Tears were shed, toasts were made, and our manager, bless his heart, was absolutely beaming as he clutched his commemorative plaque and gift bags. The night was winding down. We spilled out onto the sidewalk, a smaller group now, maybe 10 or 12 of us, still laughing and exchanging final goodbyes. The street was bustling with other patrons heading home, pedestrians just passing by. Our manager was still there, basking in the glow of his well-deserved send-off. It was a really nice, warm atmosphere. And then she appeared, out of nowhere it felt like. A woman whose fashion sense screamed pre-COVID, you know, a specific kind of dated that just stands out these days. Let's call her pre-Karen for the sake of this story, because her whole vibe was just from another time. She strode right up to our little huddle, bypassing everyone and focused right on me. "My keys," she stated, not asked but demanded, her voice a little sharp. I blinked. "Excuse me," I asked, genuinely confused. "I mean, I'm standing there in my work lanyard, clearly not a valet." She rolled her eyes. "Don't play games with me. My car keys. You have them." And before I could even process that, she was holding a set of keys out to me, a literal jingle of metal in my face. Now, as I said, I'm usually pretty laid back. I don't go looking for trouble. But something about her immediate aggression and the sheer audacity of it all just rubbed me the wrong way. "Ma'am," I said, trying to be polite but firm, "I don't work here. I'm not a valet, I'm not with the restaurant. I don't have your keys, and I definitely don't want these." I tried to gently wave her keys away. That's when she really started to get agitated. Her eyes narrowed. "Don't lie to me. I saw you. Just give me my keys." She actually tried to stuff the keys into my hand, physically pushing them. I instinctively recoiled, pulling my hand back. "Look, lady, I'm not taking them. I'm telling you I don't work here." My patience was officially wearing thin. "If you try to force them on me again, I swear I'll just toss them in the gutter. I'm not responsible for them." Her jaw dropped, offended. But instead of backing off, she changed tactics. Her hand shot out, not for the keys, but for my lanyard, which still hung around my neck, complete with my work badge. It was a reflex. I snatched my lanyard away before she could get a firm grip. My voice went cold. "Don't you dare touch me again. That's assault." She froze, her hand still hovering in the air. For a moment, she just stared at me, then down at the lanyard, which I now held firmly in my hand, out of her reach. Her eyes scanned the badge, reading my name, my company logo. The gears in her head seemed to slowly, painstakingly turn. She realized it wasn't a restaurant badge. It wasn't a valet badge. It was just a regular office ID badge. Her gaze slowly traveled back up, taking in my face, then my very clearly non-uniform attire. A single word, dripping with pure, unadulterated condescension, escaped her lips, almost a hiss. "You." It wasn't a question. It wasn't an apology. It was an accusation, an insult, a dismissal wrapped in one syllable. "You," as in, you, some random, insignificant person who had dared to inconvenience her. I was honestly speechless. My mind just hit a wall. All that pent-up annoyance, the confusion, the mild anger just dissolved into this profound, bewildered disbelief. Who does that? Who accuses a stranger, tries to force keys on them, physically grabs them, and then, after being proven utterly, ridiculously wrong, just spits out "you" like I was the problem. It was so absurd, so cartoonish, that all I could do was just stand there, utterly dumbfounded. A tiny, incredulous chuckle eventually escaped me. And that, my friends, is how my manager's retirement party ended with a side of utterly unhinged public interaction. It's a story I'll be telling for years, a perfect little nugget of "I don't work here, lady" gold. So next time you're out, remember, sometimes a simple ID badge isn't just for security, it's a shield against the truly baffling corners of humanity. Keep it real, folks.
This next one had Reddit losing its mind. Quick pause, subscribe now, because the chaos doesn't stop here.
All right, Reddit, gather round, because I've got a story that'll make you question humanity's collective brain cell count. Seriously, it started out as a completely normal Tuesday, just trying to get some gas, snag a coffee, maybe shoot the breeze with my buddies who work at the local station. Little did I know the universe had other, far more chaotic, plans for my afternoon. I pull up to the pump, waving at Mark and Sarah inside. They wave back big grins. "Hey, what's up?" I shout across the lot. Just fueling up and grabbing some caffeine. We have our usual quick banter and I head inside, already feeling that easygoing vibe of a familiar place. Now here's where my day took a sharp left turn into crazy town. As I'm making my way towards the coffee machine, minding my own business, my elbow catches a display of chips. Crash. Bags go flying, cheesy dust cloud erupts. "Oh, for crap's sake," I muttered, feeling my face flush. So much for inconspicuous. I immediately grab a roll of paper towels from the counter, already scrubbing away, trying to make amends for my clumsy self. It was a genuine accident, and I'm not one to leave a mess for someone else. I'm halfway through tidying up the chip carnage when this teenage girl, probably no older than 17, strolls up to me, phone glued to her face. She doesn't even look up as she mumbles, "Excuse me, where are the chips?" I stop wiping, still knelt down amidst the debris. "Oh hey," I say, trying to be polite despite the situation. "I actually don't work here, just a customer who, may have just annihilated this display." "They're usually over there," I gesture vaguely to another aisle. She finally glances up, gives me this utterly blank look, and then a very clear, dismissive eye roll. "Whatever," she mutters, then turns and stalks off. My eyebrow just about hit my hairline. Rude, but whatever, teen's gonna teen, right? I finished cleaning up, tossed the empty wrappers, and headed to the counter for my coffee. I'm just about to pay when the teen girl marches back in, this time with her mom in tow. And let me tell you, this woman had that particular aura that just screamed, "I'd like to speak to your manager," even before she opened her mouth. Her eyes scanned the store, landed on me, then narrowed. "Mom, that's her," the girl whined, pointing a finger directly at me. The rude one, she wouldn't tell me where the chips were. Before I could even process what was happening, the mom was on me. She grabbed my arm, not gently, mind you, more like a vice grip, and spun me around so fast my coffee almost sloshed out. "Hey. What the hell?" I yelped, pulling my arm back. Her face was contorted in anger. "You ignored my daughter. You think you can just be rude to customers. My daughter asked you a simple question and you just brushed her off." "Excuse me," I was genuinely flabbergasted. "First off, ouch. Second, I don't work here. I told your daughter that. I was literally cleaning up a mess I made. I'm a customer just like you." She scoffed, crossing her arms. "Oh, please, you were wearing a blue shirt." "I was, it's my favorite band tee, but whatever. And you were cleaning, that makes you an employee in my book. You had one job and that was to help a customer. You should be ashamed of yourself." By this point, Sarah, my friend behind the counter, looked like she was about to jump over and intervene. Mark had emerged from the back, eyeing the scene with a mixture of confusion and impending doom. "Lady, I don't know what to tell you," I said, trying to keep my voice even, though my blood pressure was definitely rising. I was helping myself by cleaning up my mistake. "And then I politely told your daughter I don't work here and even pointed her in the right direction. If she didn't listen, that's not my problem." "That's unacceptable," she screeched, her voice getting louder. "You clearly think you're above helping people. My daughter asked for chips and you refused. I demand you go get her some chips right now and then you give us a discount for your atrocious behavior." My jaw dropped. A discount for my atrocious behavior. I stared at her, then at the mortified teen, then back at the mom. "I don't work here," I enunciated slowly, each word dripping with disbelief. and I'm certainly not getting your daughter anything, let alone giving you a discount. Oh, you'll regret this, she shrieked, her face turning a deep shade of purple. You'll regret making a scene. She then stomped over to the gas station attendant's window where Mark was now standing looking bewildered. I want her fired. And I want my gas for free because of how rude she was. Mark, bless his patient soul, lined into the mic. Ma'am, she doesn't work here. She's a customer. I don't care, she yelled back. She's wearing a blue shirt and she was cleaning. She should have helped my daughter. The argument escalated into a full-blown shouting match with Mark, who was now patiently explaining the concept of a customer to a woman who clearly refused to grasp it. She started pounding on the glass, demanding free gas, demanding my job, which she couldn't even name because, it didn't exist here. Sarah, meanwhile, was discreetly on the phone, probably with her manager or more likely the police. Suddenly, I heard the unmistakable wail of a siren approaching. My heart actually skipped a beat. Seriously, police for a chip display and a misunderstanding. 2 squad cars pulled into the lot, lights flashing, and 2 officers emerged looking very serious. The mom immediately went into victim mode. Officer, thank goodness, this woman, she pointed dramatically at me, refused to help my daughter, then swore at me, and now the employees are refusing to give me free gas for her horrible service. One of the officers, a no-nonsense woman, stepped forward. Ma'am, can you explain what happened? Mark, probably relieved, quickly recounted the actual events, me being a customer, my accidental chip-tastrophe, me cleaning it, the woman accosting me and her escalating demands. I added my piece, still a bit shaky from the confrontation. The officer listened patiently, then turned back to the Karen. Ma'am, it seems clear this woman does not work here, and harassing a customer is not acceptable. You need to calm down, pay for your gas, and leave the premises. No, I want my gas for free. I was disrespected. She should be fired. The mom was now flailing her arms, practically doing a jig of indignation. The teen girl, bless her heart, had actually shrunk back, looking mortified by her mother's performance. The other officer stepped closer. Ma'am, you are causing a public disturbance. If you do not pay for your gas and leave immediately, we will have to escort you off the property and issue a trespass warning. That's when she truly went nuclear. She started screaming, you can't do this, I'm a customer, I have rights, I want to speak to your supervisor. I'll sue everyone. She picked up a stray chip bag from the ground and actually threw it at the gas station sign. That was the last straw. The officers exchanged a look. That's enough, one said, a hand already on her arm. You are officially trespassed from this property. You are banned from this gas station. Now you need to leave or you will be arrested. She continued to rant and rave as they gently but firmly guided her away from the pump and towards her car. The teen mumbled an apology to me and Mark as she scurried past, looking utterly humiliated. The mom, still yelling about rights and free gas, was eventually made to get into her car and driven off by the teen, presumably after paying for her own gas. The officers stayed for a few more minutes, making sure everything was calm, then gave Mark and me a sympathetic nod before leaving. Mark and Sarah just stared at me, then at each other, then burst out laughing. Dude, Mark said, wiping a tear from his eye, you just got a Karen ban from our store. I just shook my head, paid for my coffee and a much-needed soda, and mumbled, what a day. My date was going to have quite the story tonight. I swear, sometimes I think the universe just picks random people for these absurd encounters. And today, it decided I was the lucky winner. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk Reddit. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think I need a stronger drink than coffee.
All right, buckle up, folks, because I've got a story for you that proves even in the most boring, quiet little towns like the one I've called home in the Great Lakes region for over a decade, you can still stumble into a full-blown circus. This isn't just any I don't work here lady tale, it's one with a twist that still makes my jaw drop. It all started on a perfectly mundane Saturday. I was at Walmart, navigating the chaotic labyrinth of consumerism, just trying to grab a fresh tank of propane for my grill. You know, a classic weekend chore. I was minding my own business, pushing my cart, maybe humming a little off-key, when this woman barrels up to me. She was, for lack of a better term, a Karen, the kind with a perpetual scowl etched into her face like she'd just bitten into a lemon-flavored grievance. Excuse me, she barks, cutting off my internal rendition of whatever pop song was stuck in my head. Can you run out to the other store, the one across town, and get me some groceries? I need them now." I blinked. Did she just ask me, a complete stranger in a hoodie and jeans, to go grocery shopping for her? Ma'am," I started, trying to be polite. "I don't actually drive yet, and as far as I know, that other store doesn't do deliveries." I mean, seriously, what kind of question was that? She didn't even let me finish. She just waved her hand dismissively, like I was a fly buzzing around her perfectly coiffed beehive of entitlement. "I don't have time to run out myself. My schedule is packed. Just go." I stared at her, utterly flabbergasted. "Look, I'm not your personal grocery runner. I don't work here, and even if I did, that's not part of the job description." She huffed, planting her hands on her hips. "I'll pay you, just go get them." The way she said it, it sounded less like an offer and more like a command, as if she were bestowing a great honor upon me. The idea of being paid to fetch her groceries while standing in a grocery store was just too rich. I shook my head. "No, I'm not doing that." That's when the volume kicked up. Her face went from scowl to full-on fury. "Fine, if you won't help me, I'll call the police. You're being uncooperative." My eyes widened. "The police for what? I'm just trying to buy propane and mind my own business." The sheer audacity of it left me speechless. Who threatens a civilian with law enforcement for refusing to be their errand boy? Just then, a guy who looked like he could work at Walmart, maybe in the electronics section, with a name tag clipped to his shirt, though I couldn't make out the name, stepped in. He'd clearly been listening to the escalating drama. "Ma'am, you need to back off. He's clearly not an employee." Karen whirled on him, her anger instantly redirected. "You stay out of this, and you," she pointed a finger back at me, "get me those groceries now, or I'm speaking to your manager." I actually snorted. "Dude, she's already at a grocery store. Why can't she just shop here?" The employee and I exchanged a look that screamed, "Are you seeing this?" He just sighed, rubbing his temples. "Ma'am, I don't work here either. I'm just a shopper." That was the final straw for Karen. She let out a guttural shriek of frustration, hurled a string of colorful, family-unfriendly profanities that would make a sailor blush, and stormed off, her cart rattling like a vengeful ghost behind her. The guy and I just stood there, watching her disappear around an aisle, shaking our heads in unison. We made a quick exit, just wanting to get out of that store and forget the whole insane encounter. A few days later, I thought I had forgotten about it. The memory of the propane princess faded into the general background noise of absurd public encounters. Then, I saw her again. I work at a local retail store. Let's just say it's not Walmart, but it is customer service. I was stocking shelves when I looked up and saw her. Karen. Same scowl, same air of superiority, but this time she was browsing our home goods section. My stomach dropped. I tried to make myself small, hoping she wouldn't recognize me. No such luck. Her eyes, sharper than I remembered, zeroed in. I saw a flicker of recognition, then a smug, almost triumphant smirk spread across her face. Panic set in. I ducked into the back room, grabbed one of my managers, Sarah, and quietly explained. "Hey, Sarah, remember that insane woman I told you about, the one who tried to make me run errands at Walmart? She's out there. She's seen me, I think." Sarah, bless her heart, gave me a skeptical look. "Karen, really? The one who works over at Fancy Foods Emporium? She's always so pleasant when she comes in." I know, I whispered, but she was absolutely unhinged that day. I don't want any trouble." Sarah, seeing the genuine worry in my face, agreed. "All right, just hang back here for a bit. Help out with the online orders. I'll keep an eye on things until she leaves." So I did. I was cooped up in the back for a couple of hours, trying to distract myself, when suddenly a torrent of yelling erupted from the sales floor. It wasn't just loud, it was furious. It sounded like Karen. And then I heard Sarah's voice, strained and firm, trying to de-escalate. I poked my head out, heart pounding. Karen had indeed found Sarah. She was screaming, red-faced, about how one of our other employees had supposedly been rude to her, how she knew my manager, and how she was going to have everyone fired, including me, for insubordination. It escalated fast. From shouting, she went to pushing Sarah, actually shoving her backwards, demanding to speak to the store owner. That was it. Someone had already called the police, and before I knew it, 2 officers were walking through the doors. Karen, mid-tirade and still trying to physically intimidate Sarah, suddenly froze. The officers quickly assessed the situation, took statements, and despite Karen's continued protestations and threats, they cuffed her. She was arrested right there in front of everyone for assault and disturbing the peace. And obviously, she was permanently banned from our store. Sarah came back into the break room a few minutes later, looking shaken but relieved. She clapped me on the shoulder. "Jasper, I'm so sorry I doubted you. You were right." She was something else. We spent the rest of the day just trying to process it. Later, I ended up sharing the full story with our team, and then with a few online groups just to get it off my chest. The general consensus, and honestly what I thought too, was that Karen probably had some serious entitlement issues, maybe even a mental illness, spiraling out of control. It was a classic Karen tale, but that twist, finding out she wasn't just a customer, but a manager at a different local business, and then seeing her unravel so spectacularly at my workplace, made it unforgettable. It was a stark reminder that you never really know what's simmering beneath the surface, even in the quietest of towns.
Feel like keeping it going? Here's a solid pick.